SN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Kerry Lutz at the financialsurvivalnetwork.com, and we are on the road, but we're still bringing you important news. And with us now, we've got Marie Murrell. You know her well. She's one of the original Politichicks anchor and is the national director, editor-in-chief of Politichicks.tv, which was nominated, that's right, was nominated at CPAC in 2013 for the People's Choice Blogger Award. And Anne-Marie, we haven't talked to you in a while, but it's great to have you back on. How have you been?
I'm good. It's good to be back with you.
Hey,
it's been a crazy year.
Oh, God, has it ever? And boy, even crazier in California. You've got like quakes going on there, swarms of earthquakes and droughts and emergencies, and you've always got a political emergency going on, being in the People's Republic of California. So what's going on there?
Well, our gas prices are hovering right about mid $4.35-ish. We're always threatening to go up to $5. That's just the norm out here now. That's kind of the new norm. And I'm telling you, everyone on both sides of the political aisle are getting pretty sick of it. It's making it. It's not just Republicans that are having problems in California. Everyone is. Everyone's having trouble holding on to their property, their homes, their lives, their jobs, their schools. Everything's upside down. It didn't work out. This social experiment.
I mean, liberalism isn't succeeding beyond Jerry Brown's wildest expectations. You're kidding me, right?
No, it isn't. No, not at all. And one of the things whenever I speak at any of the groups around California, I urge people to when we get out of state guests, especially if they're liberal, take them on a sightseeing tour of California. Take them to Beverly Hills and take them to San Diego and some of the really great Republican areas, and then take them to South Central, and then take them to Sanctuary City, and then take them to Maxine Waters, Harley Rangel's district, and show them the difference, and then maybe leave them there overnight in South Central and see how it works out, and make them take pictures and show the difference to their friends and family, because these cities that have been run by Democrats for decades are dangerous. They are unemployment is lower than anywhere else, and it's very sad that these people are just enslaved and they don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, it's the plantation, the modern day plantation, that instead of harvesting cotton, they're harvesting welfare checks and food stamp EBT cards, right?
Oh yeah, yes they are. Yep, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And there are some there's this one young man, John Wood, who's running against Maxine Waters. And he is a young black man. He's wonderful. He's intelligent, and he's articulate, and he's able to explain to people. He's going door to door all over that district. He's explaining to people. It's not a Republican Democrat thing. It's do you have money in your wallet? Do you feel secure living in South Central? Are you okay with things the way they are? If not, he's offering a different solution. So there's some good people that are starting to step up. But most people don't want to run against these monsters. One, because they don't want to live in their district to have to run. So it's interesting. But people are getting really, really fed up.
Well, she's a real towering intellect, old Maxine Waters, right?
Oh, Lord have mercy. It's just, I don't even know why anyone would have voted for her twice, let alone just for decades, keeping her in office, when every year it's just worse and worse. You can't drive in her district at night. You risk your life, and that doesn't matter what color you are. You're risking your life. Any place where you have to risk your life to go at dark, as soon as the sun goes down, there's a problem, and you need to fix it, and it's fixable.
Well, you did get some good news in California in that Henry Waxman, he's resigning, so he's not coming back, right?
Right, yeah. That's yeah. What a piece of work he is. One of my friends, Ari David, once ran against him, and there was a TV show on Right Network called Running, and it was fascinating to watch the difference in their tactics. Yeah, it's time. All of them need to resign, every single one of them, and that's on both sides of the fence, frankly. There are a lot on our side that need to resign, too.
Yeah, well, we're not really talking Democrat, Republican. They're all corrupt here. They just go to Washington to get wealthy, to line their pockets. They're owned by by the corporatist entities, by the wealthy corporate banking, whoever, pharmaceutical, big agra, whoever it is who's out there paying for their elections so they can tell you what they're going to do. H.L. Mencken said it over 100 years ago that elections are merely an auction of goods yet to be stolen. And that's what our system has devolved into, right? I mean, let's face it. That's what it's all about.
You're right. That is what it's all about. And unfortunately, I don't blame the politicians. I blame the people. I blame us for being, for one example, I think that these two words to me are the reason we're all where we are right now, silent majority. We allowed things to go as planned. We voted. We did our civic. We felt that was our civic duties, and we went back home and forgot about these people. And anyone who's ever run a business, if you can imagine hiring an employee who's never worked for your company, knows nothing about your company, and then saying, okay, you're hired, and then leave for a whole year and not watch that employee, what's going to happen to your business?
2 years and 6 years.
Right. Let's let them stay let's say they're there for 20 years. Are you going to be surprised when you come back and find out that he's stolen money from you and that he's built the system and that it's just, that's what you do when you hand someone the key to unlimited power. And so I do blame our side. Unfortunately, I have to blame me and you and the people who thought that we didn't have to speak out and didn't have to step up. And thank God, this is the only time you'll ever hear me say this, Kerry. Thank God that Obama happened to America, because he woke us all up from a deep sleep and from apathy and from thinking that we didn't need to use our voices and didn't need to keep watching these people in Washington.
Yeah, well, in my little town that I used to live in Westchester County, we had a reform slate. We wound up getting rid of the entrenched power in the town. I'll just leave it at that. For 2 years, basically, we just totally ripped the thing to shreds, got rid of lifetime health insurance for the town council, which was a part-time job, built up a huge surplus in the town. And there was one thing that the board inartfully handled, a real estate development, which really upset the hell out of the town. The election came, they swept out the reform slate, brought back the entrenched powers, and that's where it's at now. And then the first thing they do is there's a scandal. The entrenched power comes back in. The first thing they have is a scandal over police overtime and the town manager. So much for reform, because all they cared about was this one real estate development that was going to maybe adversely impact this part of town. And they got back the whole corrupt infrastructure they had had for 40 years in the town. So even when you try to help the people, oftentimes they reject it, Anne-Marie. That's just the way these things work. It's the most amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, that's really sad. And you look at a town like Bell, California, out here. That was a perfect classic example of unchecked politicians and just leaving them to their own devices. But you're right; it's very frustrating. But But that doesn't mean you stop. And of course, you know this. We have to keep fighting, and we have to just keep on them. And that's the thing that we should learn from Democrats. They don't, the minute an election is over, they start working on the next election. They don't wait a year and then start, canvassing neighborhoods a few months before. They're working on that election the moment it's over. We put elections away like Christmas.
Yeah.
Put them in a box, and we're like, oh, so glad that's over. I don't want to see anything until November. And then we bring it back out, and then we're surprised that we're behind. So
yeah,
we have a lot of catch up to do, and most activists haven't been at this very long. We're, myself included, most of us started doing this around 2007, 2008, when we saw how fragile our country is and how easily tyranny can take over our freedoms. We saw that with starting at the very beginning, when two thugs holding a weapon, were allowed to get off scot-free after intimidating voters. That when you saw that happen and no one did anything about it, they just all of our Republican people just turned away and didn't say a word. That was when a lot of people started standing up and saying, "Wait, this is wrong." No one's sticking up for us. And then Obamacare.
Yep. No
one was fighting. No one was screaming, because it had always been go along to get along politics, and it ain't that no more.
Yep.
As we say in Texas.
That's for sure. So want to talk about the standoff that took place at the ranch in Nevada. Up next on the Financial Survival Network.
FSN Radio.
Urgent alert. Ex-Secret Service agent claims it's worse than people know. One of Obama's former Secret Service agents recently smelled a rat. What he discovered inside our government was so devastating, he only saw one option. He quit. What's worse, he fears what he found could affect your job, your neighborhood, and most importantly, your family, very soon. It's worse than people know, he said in a recent interview, and I'm not trying to scare you either. We too share his concerns. This is why we've devoted the better part of 3 years collecting solutions for nearly all problems created by intrusive governments, and we've succeeded. Go to hiddensecrets1.info to check out all the details. Our panel of insiders have devised a legal but sneaky set of solutions to help you reclaim your privacy from the NSA, opt out of Obamacare, and make a bundle from little-known investments and small business opportunities. Simply visit hiddensecrets1.info. That's hidden secrets, the number 1.info.
FSN Radio.
When your accountant wants tax-free income, this is what he does. Accountants know the law. They also know that any American could legally get paid up to 3 times per month, 100% tax-free. That's 36 tax-free checks each year. It doesn't matter what you make already. This simple strategy could work for anyone. Go to www.irsrevenge2.com to learn how. That's irsrevenge, the number 2.com.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
And we are back. So, Anne-Marie, the standoff in Nevada with the Bureau of Land Management and the Bundys, Clive and Bundy, they were all set. They had helicopters, they had armed agents of the federal government, the Park Service, and it looks like it was all to further Harry Reid's interests, his son's interests. There was some talk of a Chinese solar project, a $5 billion solar project, and they want water for Las Vegas. And you had hundreds of, maybe even thousands of people. It's hard to get the news out. And you had social media, you had alternative media saying, wait a second, guys, you can't take this guy's cattle. You're not going in there. And they were armed as well. What were your thoughts on that whole thing?
Well, I wrote last night for Politics. I wrote a kind of wrap-up of the weekend, of all the events that happened over the weekend. And almost the moment I published it, I got approximately 50 different messages from all over the place, giving me more information and saying, you need to look at this, you need to look at this. There are some things about the Harry Reid involvement that are questionable. We don't know for sure. Supposedly that company, they backed off of that deal in 2013. And so the Harry Reid involvement is iffy. And plus, it was around approximately 100 miles from where Bundy Ranch is. So they're shooting that theory down, that it didn't necessarily have anything to do with Harry Reid. But nobody knows everything for sure yet. All of this stuff is still coming in. But the main thing that's interesting, well, Harry Reid did hire one of his longtime aides. This man worked for him from 2006 to 2011, I think. And this man, Harry Reid, put in charge. He's the head of all of the Bureau of Land Management. So that's one thing that's kind of creepy to me personally, that Harry Reid has handpicked the person in charge of this. And that's the man who's been going there, and he was trying to get Bundy off the property. They seized 400 cattle because Bundy owed $1 million in grazing fees. He hadn't paid in about 20 years. That's iffy because the Bundys believed they've been on that property. Their family's been on there for over 100 years, and the cattle has been grazing there for over 100 years. But he believed that he should pay the money, the grazing fees, directly to the state of Nevada and not the federal government. So there's an issue there that's also iffy, that no one knows all the details about yet. But he did believe that the property surrounding his ranch that the money should have gone to the state of Nevada and not the feds. So that was Cliven Bundy's dispute that he had personally.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things. I mean, this story goes so deep, and I don't think it has one thing to do with tortoises, frankly.
Yeah. Well, they're killing so many tortoises for all these projects they're doing in the desert, and they want. The fact is, the Southern Nevada Water Authority wants that property so they can funnel that water into Las Vegas to keep the golf courses green. I mean, there's no question about that.
Definitely. They bought up all the property all around Bundy. So all the property, he's the lone survivor in that area.
Yep.
So there's definitely some shady stuff going on. I have no doubt at all.
And when it comes to Nevada, Harry Reid calls the shots. There's no question about that. And the guy who's running the BLM, that guy, when he was confirmed, the Republicans had a lot of misgivings about that guy because he was young. He's 35 years old. The guy who he replaced had 35 years of experience in land management, and they were very concerned that this guy did not have enough experience in federal land management. They really didn't feel confident that he was up to the job. And when you see this kind of situation erupt, you got to believe that they were probably right. The fact is, this guy's family has been on that land since 1870. They predated the BLM, and to retroactively start charging grazing fees for somebody that's been there since 1870 just doesn't seem right.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and Harry Reid's former aide, that's Neil Kornze.
Yeah.
Kornze, who's the head of the Bureau of Land Management now. And yeah, you're right. I mean, Republicans, and he was there from 2003. He worked for Harry Reid from 2003 to 2011. So he's in. It's very safe to say he is deeply in Harry Reid's pocket.
Oh yeah.
And so doing that is what the old school politicians did. You scratch their back, they scratch your back, and I believe with all my heart that there is something there, even though they're all shooting down the thing about the Chinese solar energy. I would not be surprised whatsoever. As soon as we turn our backs and stop watching this story, we're going to see eventually that solar energy company out there in that desert. And I don't believe Clive Bundy's family will be there anymore.
Yeah, well, it's going to be hard. They're going to be hard pressed to get him out of there now
Well, yeah,
by any
yeah,
means because this story's got legs and the people descended on the place from all over and they were armed and they just
yeah.
knew that the last thing they wanted was some type of Waco type event right on the eve of elections. I mean, that was
Right.
just, and it started really permeating the mainstream media too. This was just like a no-win situation. And you know that today, uh, on Monday, you know, April 14th, it's going to be the topic of some angry cabinet meetings in the White House. Uh, there's going to be, how did this happen? How did you let this happen? We look
Hmm.
really bad. Who's responsible for this? And I think there's going to be some people resigning from government, just like Catherine Sebelius, to go spend some more time with their families. You know, I
Yeah.
just have that
In
feeling, don't
in
you?
quotation marks.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Speaking of which, it was.
Yeah. These people keep forgetting that we're watching now. We really are. We're watching everything they do. If someone gets fired for saying something, we're watching our First Amendment rights. We're watching our Second. We're watching all of our rights now for the first time in decades. If someone gets fired for saying the wrong thing at a company, no matter what the thing is, we're going to fight for that person, whatever the issue is, right? Or whatever their issue is. If they get fired for stating their beliefs, whether they're beliefs we believe in or not, we're going to support that person and we're going to go against the company that does this. This is something that every American should be aware of, not just Republicans, not just Democrats, everyone. We should all be concerned about the overreach of our government right now. This is dangerous, dangerous stuff. And the fact that what I think is that they went to Bundy Ranch thinking that no one would make a fuss. I don't think for one moment they believed that there was going to be such an uproar about this issue. I really don't. I think they thought they were going to go in there like they did with all the other ranchers surrounding Bundy Ranch, and they were just going to go take the cattle and do whatever they want and intimidate this man until he left.
Yep, no
So
doubt.
that's exciting. On the one hand, it's an exciting time to be an American because we're seeing people fighting back against this government. But man, we're really late to this fight because they've been building up for many, many, many years.
Oh, you're totally right. And, just like it's exciting, it's also dangerous times.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
don't know how this fight's going to end up. I mean, they have put it this way, they have the tactical advantage. They've got the guns, they've got the tanks. I mean, look at those mine resistant anti, you know, personnel, IED resistant tanks that they're sending all over the country to police departments, Anne Marie, to protect us against terrorists. That's
Yeah.
that's what we're up against here.
But they don't believe in terrorists. The
Yeah.
terrorists that would come here and kill us because we exist, they don't call them terrorists. We're the terrorists.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the thing that's more dangerous than the tanks and the people showing up at Bundy's Ranch with AR-15s and threatening them, it's the media. What they're going to do now, and what I'm already seeing, is they're going to start vilifying Bundy and everyone there. They're going to start making him look like a crazy, kooky crackpot who broke the law and is evil and mean. That's already starting. So that's the way they're going to really get even with the Bundys. They're going to destroy this family. And we're going to just watch. In a month, he's going to be an idiot. Everyone on both sides of the fence they're not going to talk about him because they're going to think he's a bad guy. They're already doing that. They're starting that right this moment. So they don't need the guns and the tanks. They're going to get rid of him other ways.
Well, they'll try, but there is the alternative media that are standing up for the guy, and this is a black mark for Harry Reid, and a lot's going to depend on where the Senate goes after the election. So, Anne Marie, thanks so much for being on the show. Just tell us where we find you and how we read your work and watch your videos.
Okay, it's at politichicks.tv, and you can find me on Twitter, politichickam, M as in Mary. And also my co-anchors and I have written a book. It's coming out in September, and it's called What Women Really Want. And W&D Books is publishing it, and we're going to do a big media blitz in August. We're going to be going to mainstream TV to talk about this book, so it'll be interesting.
All right. Well, we will definitely have you back then. We wish you the best of luck. You'll find links to Anne-Marie's sites on the show notes to this interview. Thanks so much for being back on, Anne-Marie. Wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be with you.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.